I'm not someone who, looks down on people, because they don't have money or they don't have this or don't have that. Because I've been there, and for me, we're all individual expressions of the same consciousness, just having different experiences. And we should start supporting each other and seeing us all as one consciousness having different experiences, instead of self-identifying with all these bloody labels. For me, the world is controlled and humanity is controlled and controls itself and creates the very ground for which divide and rule is possible, which allows the few to control the many, through its obsession with labels. So we say, you're working class. Remember that great scene on the old David Frost program, where you had the three guys. John Cleese was one, and Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett were the others, and they were different sizes. And John Cleese was dressed as a rich man in the nice suit, and then you had Ronnie Barker, next one down. He was kind of middle class in a trilby, and then you had Ronnie Corbett, little guy on the end, and he was kind of working class with a flat cap, all the cliches. And it was a wonderful thing, describing the way that labels dictate our interaction, where one's saying, I look down on him because I am upper class, and then the guy in the middle was saying, and I look down on him because he is lower class, and we both look up on him because he's upper class. And these labels, labels of race, labels of sexuality, labels of religion, and these are not who we are. They are experiences that our consciousness is having, our awareness is having. And once you start self-identifying with the label, you start looking at yourself in terms of little me. I am my label. I am Ethel, who works on the checkout at Tesco. That's all I am. No, you are an expression of infinite awareness, having an experience called Ethel on the checkout. Bill driving the bus. You say to people, who are you? You say, well, I'm Bill, I come from Manchester and I drive a bus. No, that's what you're experiencing. Bill is the name of your current experience. What you are is consciousness having that experience. And this might seem like esoteric navel gazing, but it's not. It's a totally different way of interacting with the world, and it's a total different way of self-identifying yourself. Because when you say I am are, and the labels then follow, you are self-identifying with limitation. You're self-identifying, I am my experience. And if I'm, born in Leicester in a working class council house, then that defines me. That's who I am. No, that's just where you were born. Mm. You have the potential to be whatever you want to be and whatever you choose to be. But what we've got now is a massive extension even of that, whereby your label is everything. Not only are people defining themselves by the labels, the world is increasingly defining them more than ever before by them. And this is where what we call today identity politics comes from, where it's not about what is right or fair or just, which is surely the way to look at anything. It's, how does this affect my label? So if I'm transgender and something happens, how does this affect my label? If I'm this race or that religion and something happens, well, how does this affect my label? So people are constantly judging the world by how it affects their label, instead of saying, well, hold on a minute, never mind all that. Is it right? Is it fair? Is it just? No matter what label we're talking about, is it fair? Is it just? Is it right? And so what you have is a situation where we have developed this belief among increasing numbers of people, particularly young people through the universities and colleges, whereby you judge everyone by a group, and then you tag the group whether it's good or not good. So therefore, instead of seeing a world of individuals with individual thoughts, opinions, observations, you judge everyone by a group. So if you say something about one group, you're a bigot, you're a Nazi, and a racist or a fascist. And if you say something about another group, then, and that group is labeled bad, then you say what you bloody like.
Yeah, kind of funny.
People said to me, didn't you know that would happen if you said this and said that? And I said, well, do you know I'd worked that out? Mm-hmm. But you say it anyway. But you see, there's a lot of background with that, because I was going through my life. I left school at 15. I didn't take a major exam because I went to be a professional footballer with Coventry and others. And then my career ended with rheumatoid arthritis. I played a whole year of league football with rheumatoid arthritis. That's a whole story in itself. But what that did is it developed in you, because all these things are within us, and experience brings them out. And if you don't have experience, often they don't come out. So I have this phrase, life tends to give us our greatest gifts, brilliantly disguised as our worst nightmares. Mm-hmm. Because often our worst nightmare will bring things out of us that wouldn't otherwise happen. This is why if you bring your kids up and you protect them from everything, you're doing them no favors, because you're not developing strong people who will be able to deal with life. You're developing people who are always looking to be protected. And look at what we have now. And once you have a generation or you have a population that wants to be protected and perceives itself all the time as being a victim, where does the point of power move? It moves to authority, because people look to authority to protect them from what they fear or what they feel victimized by. So what we've been developing is a population of emotionally weak people who perceive themselves in terms of victims. When you have challenges in life and you meet them, it brings something out of you. So, for instance, when my arthritis came, and I didn't know what else am I going to do at that time. I wanted to be a footballer. I wanted to be a footballer since I was a kid. And now my joints are swelling up, and they're telling me I'm going to have to pack it in. I thought, I'm not packing it in. I want to give it a go. So I went to a club called Hereford United that was a league club then. And I played the whole season with rheumatoid arthritis. Every morning when we were training and warming up for training on cold English mornings, I was in agony. And I would be limping and what have you, and the players would say, oh, what's wrong now, Icke? And I would give a different excuse. Oh, I've got a bit of a pull. Oh, I think I've got a bit of a blister. But actually it was the same thing all the time. And I played the season out, and eventually it got so bad that I couldn't carry on. But it brought something out of me, this determination not to give up and not to give in. I was born on a council estate in Leicester, where my brother still lives in the same house. In 1952, and we were skinned. But you know, it's a funny thing. We were skinned, and things were incredibly tight, but I never felt deprived. You know, you made your own fun and stuff. You didn't need a thing to do it. You didn't need computers or smartphones, and you had to use your imagination. And you had to do things without any money. But I enjoyed my childhood. I was watching steam trains and playing football, and I enjoyed it. And I didn't perceive myself as deprived, even though, you know, we were literally living from week to week. One of my earliest memories is going around the back of the clock factory where my father worked on a Thursday lunchtime when he got paid, and he would nip out the back. Didn't want to let anyone else see him, to give me mother the pay packet he just had so we could eat that night. It was that tight. You know, I remember as a kid, you would, I didn't even realize for a long time why it was, but the door would knock, and then my mother would say, quick, shh, shh, shh. And she'd take us round the back of the sofa, and I'd be behind the sofa, and I'm a little boy, what's going on? And what was happening is the rent man would knock on the door, and if there's no answer, he'd go to the front window and look inside, so we were hiding behind the sofa. So, but all, you know, it wasn't that you felt deprived, and I love my childhood, and you know, I wouldn't change it, and that's always kind of that attitude to life has always stayed with me.